everyone, and welcome to another Bimmer Fixer video. And in this video I'm going to be showing you how to change out your rear control arms on your BMW 5 Series E60. Now the kind of symptoms that you'll suffer if your control arms are gone, you can get some horrible noises coming from the back, your handling can be off. Also, if you go to a garage and ask for a full wheel alignment, they might actually suggest that the bolt's actually too corroded to be adjusted. If that's the case, then the arms are probably gone as well, so it's always worth just changing them anyway if you're changing the bolts. So what you're going to need for this, you're going to need your usual sockets and spanners, including you're going to use a torque spanner. It's just going to help get the existing eccentric bolt off. Obviously you're going to need the parts, always change in pairs. So you've got the arms, and we also have new eccentric bolts from BMW. Gloves, a jack. Now this is my new Halfords Advanced 2-ton jack. Thanks very much to the team at Halfords in Newbury. Big shout out to Matt, who helped me out and managed to get this for me rather quickly when I needed it, so I appreciate that, mate. Some axle stands, WD-40 and a wire brush are your friend, trust me. Yeah, that's pretty much it, and also a tape measure, and I'll show you why now. Okay, so the reason why we need a tape measure is because we want to take the measurement from the bottom of the wheel arch here to the centre of the hub, so the ride height of the car. This is really important because what happens, I see this all the time on YouTube, people fit these lower control arms and they torque them in, and the problem is you've torqued it in and the hub is too low, it's not actually at the ride height. And what happens there is when you lower the car, the torsion in the hub is going to be so bad that it's going to wreck the new bushes. So what you need to do is take that measurement, and then when you go to finally tighten up the new control arm and the new eccentric bolts, you jack up the hub so it's at the ride height of the car. But I'll show you that in a second. So what you need to do, put a tape measure there, come down, get a kind of eyeball it as best as you can. So that's about 360 millimeters, showed over 14 inches. Okay, so we just need to make a note of that, so when we go to finally torque up the control arm, we know where the hub needs to sit in relevance to the position of the car.
Okay, so once your car's up in the air and your wheel's off and it's all nice and safe, you can then have a look at your rear control arm, which is here. Okay, so this is where the garage will adjust your rear wheel alignment, and they will do that by adjusting the eccentric bolt, which is here. Okay, now what we need to do first is we need to take off the nut here, which I think is a 16mm. So we need to clean this up and give it some WD-40 to help us out. When it comes to loosening off your eccentric bolt here, just support it this side, okay, and you actually undo the nut, which is just round the corner there, stuck there. Okay, you don't want to be swinging off of this nut here because you can do some damage to the nut. We are replacing it anyway, but if you want to keep them, it's best not to do that. Also, if you are planning on keeping it, this nut, or the bolt I should say, just make a note of where it sits, so you can just do a line across the bolt onto the part here, just here. Okay, so then you know where to put the bolt back. But if you're changing the arm, then you really want to be getting a full wheel alignment anyway. Okay, so what we'll do now, we'll get these bolts ready to come off with a bit of WD-40 and a good clean up. Okay, so what we're doing, we've got our E10 there. I'm just popping that on there. It just seems to sit really nicely. And then we can use our 16mm spanner. Again, ideally a ring spanner, but I can't find my 16mm ring spanner, which is very frustrating. Okay, and then you just counter twist like that. Okay, so pop it on like that. Make sure it's seated correctly, otherwise you'll round it. And then just slowly, it takes a bit of time. Just be careful you don't slip off and crack yourself in the face. Don't tell me how I know that. Okay, and then you just work it off like that. Okay, so we've removed the nut from this side here. It's a bit of a pig, I'm not going to lie. Got to really persevere. I was very lucky, it just started to round off. So lucky there, so lucky we're going to replace it. That's why it's always worth not thinking that you're going to reuse these, not worth it. So once you've got the bolt out, if you just slide a screwdriver in there, and then that will prise the bolt out there like that. Give it a bit of a love tap from under there. there we go. So that's the old one removed. Now we get the new one ready to go in. Okay, so easiest way to pop this one in, if you put the ball joint in first at the bottom, make sure that's seated correctly, and being careful of the leveling sensor just there. If you give it a bit of a twist, wiggle, you just want to kind of bring it roughly to the height it needs to be, and then we can get our new bolts from BMW. So it will be that way round. Now the way these work are, I'll show you. Don't want to drop them that. Okay, so you see how that's off centered there. So basically if my fingers are the frame, when you twist the bolt it pushes out like that, okay, and that forces the wheel out, pushes the wheel out. To mirror the effect on the other side, the washer itself is also eccentric, okay, so it can only go one way. It looks like a little ghost, okay, so you can't get that wrong. And then that, the outer part there, the part that's thicker there, will match the thicker part at the other end, okay. So what we'll do is we want to put that in. I think I've got a bit of lining up to do first, but we'll try. Yeah, the camera's in the way. What I'll do, I'll get that lined up, get that through, pop the washer on, then the nut, and then not torquing it up, remember, we don't want to torque it up, and then we put the nut on the, I can show you on there as well, but like I say, just do it, just nip it up, don't swing off it just yet, because we need to jack up the hub. Okay, so best way I've found to pop this bottom bolt on, if you get a little 7mm spanner, actually pop on the bottom ring spanner first, and then with a 7mm over there, like that. There we go. I can't stress enough, just remember, you just got to nip it up. We're not torquing anything up just yet, you just want to get it on until you feel enough resistance. Okay, so that's done there, so we'll do the same up the top. Okay, so yeah, you just want to nip this one up. Again, don't tighten it too much, so you just get a 16mm socket on there, 16mm spanner, counter twist it, and then what we'll do is we'll jack up the hub to the correct height, the ride height of the car. Then that's when we'll actually nip them up and make sure that the tracking is actually adjusted to where roughly it should be. Okay, so once everything has been nipped up, with the eccentric bolt here, you just want to make sure that the bolt is actually sat in the recess here, okay, and the same again, I don't know if you can quite see it over there, just got to make sure the washer, you can just make out the washer there, just there, okay, so you just want to make sure that they're sat in the grooves there and they're not riding above it, because if you go to tighten it up then you'll knacker the washer and the thread of the bolt. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll jack up the hub to, I think it's 360mm, so at the right height, and then we'll finally nip it up. Okay, so as you can see now, what we've done is we've jacked up the hub. Okay, so we've jacked it up to 360mm, so it's from the bottom of the wheel arch here down to the centre of the hub. So now the hub is actually at its normal ride height, even though it's still up in the air. Excuse me. So now what we're ready to do is we can finally torque up, nip up the eccentric bolt there and the bolt there on the ball joint. Okay, so that's everything all done up nice and tight. So now what we can do is we can release the hub back down. Again, so the reason why we do that is just so we don't have any torsion on the bushes in the control arm, again, because that'll just wreck your control arm in no time. So again, it's just really important to tighten those up when the hub is at its ride height. So all that's left to do now is to just get the wheel back on and get tidied away. Okay, so it's really important that you make sure your wheels are torqued up correctly. So on the 5 Series E60, it's 120 Newton meters of torque. There we go, all torqued up. Okay, and that's it, all done. So that's our old control arms all changed out. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've got any questions at all, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comments. I'll get back to everyone as quick as I can. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to press the bell notification so you get told when I release a new video. Thanks very much, guys. See you again soon. Bye bye.